Pokemon is bigger than Grand Theft Auto. For comparison's sake, Pokemon Go by itself has grossed about 8 billion, which is just shy of Grand Theft Auto 5's 8.6 billion. All those copies sold, all those microtransactions, and Grand Theft Auto 5 is only just barely able to outgross Pokemon Go. And I would imagine if Pokemon Go didn't have this insane hate campaign against it after that summer, it was super popular. Like it'd probably have pretty easily outstripped Grand Theft Auto 5 at its peak. But even like taking that out of consideration, the reality is Grand Theft Auto is just not that big of a video game franchise. They take way too long to produce. They're way too expensive. Nobody's really likes playing them. They're all just like incredibly boring, generic, uninspired open world game that just appeals to Eminem fans and just the people that they want to be. Okay, it is like bottom of the barrel trash. It is like the male equivalent of Taylor Swift. It is like the most basic, boring, uninspired video game franchise there is. Like run around in an open sandbox and kill cops, with floating aiming and bad vehicle controls. Like Grand Theft Auto was irrelevant when it came out, and now it's only propped up by a group of people that don't even really play video games. And that is the reality of the Grand Theft Auto brand as we slowly inch towards the last stand of the third parties, in which they are trying to tell you that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be the world's first quintuple A game. Now, like when they said quadruple A, they were referring to Perfect Dark, which Microsoft eventually canceled. So I don't know what what a quintuple A game is going to look like. Like I think what they mean by that is like the studio is gonna shutter after it because it's just gonna be so expensive and it's just gonna make no money. But like I don't know. But Grand Theft Auto 5, Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be kind of the last stand of the traditional gaming market because it's going to be overpriced. It's going to be laden with microtransactions. It's going to be significantly lower quality than what we're used to seeing. It's going to be more of the same. Like I remember thinking this even when Grand Theft Auto 4 came out, where there was this clear like air of unease among the Grand Theft Auto fan base, this growing realization that their favorite video game franchise, it wasn't as good as it used to be. And even with Grand Theft Auto 5, which even back then there was this feeling that like this thing didn't live up to the hype. It wasn't this industry smashing success. It wasn't that big of a deal. And I think it says a lot in this day and age whenever people talk about Grand Theft Auto 5, they don't talk about the characters, they don't talk about the story, the setting, like the missions. They don't really like talk about anything other than how much it's sold. And I think that's the only thing that really matters to like the audience at this point is this idea that like, well, we still have Grand Theft Auto, it's going to sell PlayStations, it's going to keep us relevant, it's going to keep the lights on. Other people, other companies are going to sell games because we exist. And that's kind of the mindset among the industry right now is that like Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to save the PlayStation gaming community. Like they're going to save this entire like corrupt industry. Like they as I've been saying for years now, they are the last stand of the old guard, like the people who have been fighting the war against Nintendo nonstop for 25 years. They are 30 years actually. 30 years they've been doing this, trying to keep Nintendo out, trying to drive Nintendo out of business, trying to drive customers away from Nintendo and discovering better video game franchises. And they did it by like selling things like Grand Theft Auto to children. They did it by demonizing playing Nintendo and like enjoying those kinds of games. And like Grand Theft Auto was kind of the center of all that and has been like the game that all these other games want to be. Like it is the symbol of everything wrong with not only video games but culture as a whole. And honestly is something that we really do need to start like openly disregarding and calling out because the Grand Theft Auto games are just completely are complete trash and always have been, but have been glamorized for like nonsensical reasons. like really since their inception. Like these games are not fun, they're not well made, they're not engaging, and I don't care how well they sell. It's just like nobody cares. Like that's kind of my mindset, at this stage, seeing people like do this thing where they're just like, well, Grand Theft Auto 6 is gonna sell. Like, no, I don't care. Like, it's not going to outperform Pokemon ever. Like, yeah, Grand Theft Auto 5, I think, is gonna be the absolute peak because I think after this there's going to be a radical shift in the industry where there's going to be some game that it does what Grand Theft Auto does better and just kind of takes hold of the audience, and those guys are just going to stick with what they're doing. Like the traditional like overpriced video game format is over. I think Rockstar's audience would be more interested in just playing apps on their phones or like playing MMOs like through a subscription fee. Like there's no reason to even have a game like Grand Theft Auto in this day and age. Like it has simply not evolved in its entire existence. It's shocking how similar these games are to Grand Theft Auto 3, which released in 2001 on the PS2. Like it really needs to be understood just how embarrassingly simplistic these games are and just why they draw people in is because they are so approachable, because they are so like familiar. They have nothing else to them other than this like fantasy of just being a criminal, like it just, caters to that specific demographic. And it's something that we as gamers really need to address as just being kind of lower quality, lower brow, stuff on the par with, Candy Crush or, Nikkei, like mobile game stuff, like it really is that kind of thing that only drives people to it because of this illusion that it's high quality, this illusion that it like reeks of success, this illusion that it's a big deal and like the biggest name in gaming. In reality, it was almost outperformed by a random Pokemon app. Like that's the reality of Grand Theft Auto 5 is that like it's just lagging far behind Nintendo in every single way that matters. And it really is hedging all your bets on the success of one video game is going to lead the entire industry into collapsing and free fall. Yeah, we are going to see like a lot of people realize just how badly this company is going to do once Grand Theft Auto 5 stops being this huge title and Grand Theft Auto stops being this huge brand. Like, and I do believe that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be the beginning of that. I think this game is going to be very out of touch politically. I think it's going to like try and go after our president. I think they're going to try and push weird political agendas onto people. And during a time when that stuff is becoming more and more controversial, like not only controversial, like hated. Like that stuff is on the way out. And there's nothing that like Grand Theft Auto can do to like normalize it or make it acceptable. If anything, Grand Theft Auto, much like South Park, it built its image on this idea that it was edgy and countercultural. Well, like, will people continue to respect it if it goes along with the culture? If it starts enabling like troons and like feminists and all that, like that's not going to happen. Like that's the reality of it is that like the way I see it is that Pokemon is this brand that's constantly expanding and constantly introducing new ideas and new concepts every other year basically, while Grand Theft Auto has been stagnant since 2013. Like you had to wait 13 years for Grand Theft Auto 6, and when it finally does come out, it is going to be disappointing. I can't imagine being in that situation, you know? Like even the gap between like Metroid Fusion and Dread wasn't that bad because if you think about it, we got plenty of Metroid games in between them. But like we're supposed to believe that we are supposed to believe that Grand Theft Auto 6 is somehow going to save the gaming industry. No, it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. Like Grand Theft Auto is just something that's propped up by people who don't know the first thing about video games. For actual gamers, like they're actually busy engaging with all sorts of different material. Like this might shock a lot of people, but Street Fighter is a bigger brand than Grand Theft Auto because it actually does pull in more money. And it's easy to see why, because they actually have characters. They actually have a vibe. They were actually innovators at the time. Street Fighter has contributed way more to the world of gaming than Grand Theft Auto ever will. And yet, people still want to create this illusion that Grand Theft Auto is the biggest name in gaming, when in reality, it isn't even close.